I'll start off by introducing you guys to, first of all, myself. I'm Jeff Ryman. I am going to be the moderator for this event. I am a producer on Kelly and Company. Um, and before we begin, I do want to give you guys some housekeeping for everyone and encourage you to visit our info booth for more information about AMI. All of today's sessions feature live closed captioning also. So if you want to access that live closed captioning, please click on closed caption at the bottom of this Zoom window. Then you want to select show subtitle and then turn them on. Select hide subtitle to turn them off. Adjust the font and the size to how the subtitles are shown in the subtitle settings. And if you are a screen reader user, do not enable the closed caption because it might interfere a little bit from this. Also, I guess we can just jump right into this, guys. Like I mentioned, my name's Jeff, and I'm the moderator, but I'm also a producer on Kelly and Company, and this is, of course, the Kelly and Company session here. Joining me today is Ramya Muthan. She's one of our hosts of the show, as well as a producer. We also have Kelly McDonald,
Hey,
who's
everybody.
also he's also one of the hosts of the show, and we're also joined by two of our contributors, Michael Babcock, who talks tech on Mondays, and Ryan Huey, who's part of the Chatty Bookshelf, talks all things audiobooks on Fridays. So literally a bookend there with Michael and Ryan, kind of pun intended, I guess. And I guess I just want to open up things just to a couple of questions for our hosts, just so you can get them to get to know them better. And I'll start with Kelly because, of course, the show is called Kelly and the Company. Kels, you actually gave me a couple of questions to ask you, so maybe I'll go in a weird order here. But how would you describe the characteristics of the show from an on-air standpoint?
Hey, everybody. Well, thanks for coming in. Thanks for being here for the day, everyone. How would I describe the show? Well, to me, we have a mandate to bring lifestyle, health, and leisure to the table. Having some fun with it, making the audience feel a part of the show is really important to us, whether it's through messaging back and forth or just really the way we deliver the show, the Kelly and Company way, as we've referred to it, and having a variety of stuff. Also understanding our audience wants a variety of stuff, wants warmth and friendly. So we try to do a morning show in the afternoon. So I think those are really the key things. The subject matter, hey, that's the easy stuff. We just look for engaging guests when we need to bring them in. Our contributors know what they're doing, what they want to bring to the table, and they have the feel of the show. And I think that's really important because that speaks the most. The fact that Rummy and I get to show up for class every day and mess around, learn a lot of stuff from these folks, and play class clowns, yeah, that's tremendous for us. But for the listener, it's the cool stuff that they can learn, the fun they have learning it, and we love that they give us their time, which they can't get back. So we have something there to deliver, and we try really hard. So I think really, Jeff, that's it.
Ramya, what about you? What do you think would best describe Kelly and Company?
Yeah, Kelly put it all in a really nice nutshell there. The only thing that I would add, and hi everybody, is that it's 2 hours Monday to Friday, so we have a lot of time to talk to a lot of people and cover a lot of things. So the way we kind of do that is just bring ourselves into it personally. We Kelly and I as the hosts, you get to really know us as who we are on and off air. Maybe for me at the beginning, because I'm newer to the show, so maybe me at the beginning I had a bit more of like discovery to do on air, but nowadays you get a lot of who we are off air. We love to laugh a lot, we love to engage, and we love hearing people's stories, and we appreciate it. Like, we appreciate all the engagement, so you get those colors and those flavors through us, as we're, like Kelly said, we're learning along with everybody else who's on the show. So we come in with super open minds, and we appreciate everything.
I can basically guarantee you guys are the exact same off air as you are on air. For me right now, I'm actually in the studio where I was teching the show and just listening to the banter from you guys while we are on the, well, I'll use air quotations, secret channel, which is our back channel when we talk to each other during the breaks. You guys are the exact same as you are off air, as you are on the air. As a team, Kels, what do you think is the recipe for success?
Oh, everybody being on the same. I mean, when I say that, I was going to say channel, like you were just saying, whether it's back channel, front channel, on air, off air, in our meetings or whatever. We all know what the show is to be, what it's to sound like from segment 1 to segment 8. And the people who work on the show, whether it's our backup co-host, whether it's the contributors, everybody subscribes to the same viewpoint. I think we consider that a really comforting thing about the show. We are lucky to be able to come in and be ourselves. If somebody said, "Oh, look at you guys, you got to be a bit different. You got to be this way or that way," we'd be lost. I mean, I do acting. Okay, I can act a part, but you don't have to here. We get to come in, have fun. Rumya mentioned coming on board later. Well, Rumya bought right in and said, "Okay, what's my place here?" and bought into the way the show was being done by the contributors, community reporters, and all the people involved with putting it together. Same with Jeff when he came on board. It was that show where we could have fun and we laugh at our mistakes. Oh my goodness! Today, it's a glad thing everybody was in here because my goodness, was a interesting circle show that we had some
It
fun
was
with.
a doozy.
Do check the podcast out for sure. But there's that advertising. But we really have to sit back, and we have the privilege, Rum, don't we, of being able to really sit back and just laugh.
Yeah, honestly, it's true. Like, if you want to use today as an example, another contributor who's not joining us here right now, but she's a host of the Into You podcast. Shout out, Fern Lellum. She's there sharing her story on our show about this like very fearful, traumatizing, intense experiences on and off this roller coaster ride, as she called it, of treatment for low vision, right? And so Kelly and I can identify as blind or a part of the blind, low vision, partially sighted community, but we can't speak to people's personal stories. What we can do is listen. And that she came in there and she's talking about some of the, honestly, for the most accurate thing was tragic, some of the tragic things she went through,
And
and
graphic.
graphic, very much so. And she's laughing through a lot of it because
Yeah.
she's comfortable, she feels invited, and we encourage that, right? We encourage people to come on and honestly talk to us, laugh with us, cry with us, whatever it is. And we're here, we're openly here to listen to you and listen to each other. So I totally agree. That's what makes it, wraps the show into this beautiful package.
And the things that happen, it's live. So the things you say or can't,
Yeah.
you try to say a word and it doesn't come out right, and you're talking this way. Oh, and you catch yourself. You go to get a guest on, and can't get through to them, or you get technical issues, especially since we've been working from home. But it's all part of the fun, and we are able to sit back, thank goodness, and laugh at us. And I think some of it is don't take yourself too serious.
Hmm.
That's exactly it, Kels. I mean, we had those problems today. Where we couldn't get a guest. We had some technical problems as well, but we just keep chugging along and we just have fun with it. I mean, we don't dwell on it. We don't sit there and dwell on things. We just sort of have a lot of fun. I want to get to maybe one more question each, guys, to both you, Kelly and Remya. Then we'll sort of have the halfway part where we can take some questions for you guys. But I guess I'll go with you, Remya, just to switch things up a little bit. What's the most enjoyable part of working with me and Kelly?
Aw, you guys are the best. Just absolutely gushing all the time. No, but seriously, if it wasn't for how awesome this team is, and I'm talking on and off the air, like what you guys hear and see and experience as listeners, but also what we experience on a daily, just communicating, putting the show together, laughing a lot, spending a 15-minute meeting where like 12 out of those 15 minutes we're just laughing and talking about other things. That's what makes my work. That's what makes my day, my experience, my like loyalty to AMI. Because as a young employee, these are the kinds of things you think about, right? Yes, vacation days and all this other stuff is like perks, but the daily experience in working with the team, Jeff Ryman, who's here, Matt Agnew, who's not here, Kelly McDonald, and all our contributors, because I work very closely with our contributors as well. Everybody makes this such an enjoyable experience for me. Honestly, if it wasn't for that bouncing back and forth of energy and positive energy and positive vibes, I would have a completely different answer. So this is great.
What about you, Kels?
For me, the fact that I get to work with a younger than me team by a significant amount, they remind me of the things that, well, that's like dad talk, isn't it? Whoa, whoa, look at that. They also teach me a lot of things because they've been more in school and connected with tech, connected with producing on the levels of what's being done a little more recent than me. I've worked at the company for 20 years and I have that background and experience to lend to them. And I'd be remiss in saying, folks, it's incredibly flattering having a show with your name in it and what that means. What is up to me to bring to the table for the listeners with my team, my experience of being with AMI and doing what we've been doing and the different jobs I've had for many years. So for me, when I can sit down with these guys at 11:45 and we had to institute a rule because we needed our meetings to only go 15 minutes because for the longest time our pre-show meetings were taking an hour and most of that hour was, as Ramya pointed out, remember that? What if? And it sure is fun. It just doesn't lend itself sometimes to getting all the work done. So for me, I think when you can every day say, wow, we're privileged to have this much fun and get paid for it and just to meet so many people. Plus, when we hit the road and get a chance to talk to people, that's first rate, first class. And people come out, give us their time and attention. And my goodness, you can't beat any of that. It's just an honor.
Absolutely. Those pre-show meetings definitely take a lot longer than I
man.
think we would like, but it is all for the good. I also want to mention to you guys, there will be a prize awarded randomly to one attendee here today. Just by joining this session, you have been entered into that draw, so winners will be contacted via email after the event. So a nice good prize for one of you potentially today. Also, if you're encountering technical issues, visit the info booth and a member of VFairs team will be there to assist you. Visit the lounge to find links to our social media accounts and email address if you'd like to reach out. And now I want to get some questions for both Kelly and Remya. So if you're able to, you can raise your hand, and then Greg, if you can just let me know who's raised their hand, and we can get them to either pipe in with their mic, or if you are comfortable just typing into the chat, you can send a question to Kelly or Remya or myself if you'd like as well, and we'll try to answer those questions. So I guess while we have a little bit of time waiting for people to ask some questions.
We already have questions and comments.
Okay, let's go to it, Greg. Who
Let's
are we going
do
to
it
first?
So a couple of comments. One is hello from Marcia. Hello to my favorite AMI people on my favorite AMI show.
Hey, Marcy.
And their comment here, thank you guys for being there for us in the blind, partially sighted community. Whenever I feel isolated, down and out, tuning into KC picks me right up, inspires me, and reminds me blind and partially sighted folks can do amazing things and that we're not alone.
Thank you. That's what we need to hear. We really appreciate that.
Now Douglas has got his hand up. So Douglas, Douglas has decided to put his hand down. Sunila has got their hand up. So I'm going to allow you to talk and then you can go ahead.
Hi, I really love your show, especially in this time when you can't go out or do anything. You need a good laugh, just listen to you. It makes your spirit go up. And you know what? All your bad feelings are gone because the medicine is Kelly and Ramya.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sunila.
Wow. We have lots of fun doing it. It's a privilege to us to be able to carry on. And sometimes we have to stop on the breaks and say, I wonder if this is legal. Like, are we allowed to have this much fun?
Okay, and Douglas, I'm going to allow you to talk. So if you're ready with your question, you can go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Sorry, darn technology. That's what voiceover. I had it raised and then I was trying to turn it back on so I could see here and see what was on the screen, and then my hand went down. I was like, no, that technical difficulty. Hi, everyone. Kelly and Remy, sorry, can't speak properly today. I was just wondering, I myself have visited AMI. It's quite a cool station. It's pretty large. But my question for you is, I myself have read news and stuff on air, like, because you have to do everything, but you have to script it beforehand. Have you ever had a situation where the technology or whatever you're using has acted up on you right on air? Like
Oh,
right
yeah.
when you're in live?
Like every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
When I
Go
was
ahead,
on,
Rum.
sorry.
Rum, do you want to fill Doug in?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Doug, you said voiceover, and that's the language that I speak as well. But so Kelly and I both are screen reader users, and we both have similar tactics. I'd say the same technique for reading scripts. We do, rejig a bit differently, but we both read our scripts using an earpiece, because screen reader is basically telling us our scripts in our ears, and then we try to repeat and or say out loud what it's saying. You know what I mean? So there's been a ton of incidences, experiences where either voiceover has glitched out for me, or Jaws has glitched out for Kelly, and or I'm on a completely different window, and or I don't know what's going on. I just don't hear my script in my ear anymore, and it's the perfect storm when it's at the same time as you're introducing a guest, and or maybe their pronunciation of their name is not familiar to you, and now you're just making it up as you go along, so there's
And most
It's-
guests are pretty good, but we
it's-
have been corrected by guests before,
Yes,
Doug, where
yes.
you've come on, and it's hard enough as it is. You think,
Oh,
oh, I
yes.
got this name, the screen reader's doing it okay, and the person says, no.
It happened to me on my college radio station when I was going to college for broadcasting radio and television at Riot Radio at Durham College here in Oshawa. I was reading sports, and then all of a sudden the cursor jumped from where I was reading. So there was like a pause and me trying to figure out in the earpiece what the heck was going on.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of like a blooper.
And that's what it happens to us. It's just suddenly crazy things happen, and you forget to remove something. You're formatting, maybe you're hurrying, because to do what we're talking about, we have a certain format. We break things up a little differently, and sometimes you're just hurrying when you're putting things together, and all of a sudden, oh, that sentence is longer than my head can hold for the repeating. So totally
right.
hear what you're talking about. And then, Doug, I had a chance once to listen to one of your feeds online from you at college. Now that you say that, I took a listen, and sounding good.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for your
I
question,
definitely
too.
appreciate the compliment. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the question.
You're
Greg,
very
maybe we can
welcome.
do Greg, maybe we can do maybe two more questions, and
Yep.
I want to get to Michael and Ryan as well.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, this is from Michael in Toronto. I was curious if the hosts are working from home, which you are, do you have any problems with lag time delays? The other day I experienced a decent delay just doing a test Zoom call with someone in the next room over in my place. So what kind of technical issues have you guys been having since you've been working from the comforts of your home?
I have been pretty good. I have a little. I think, though, we have trained ourselves, because I started working from home first. It's kind of funny, because we used to say the London, Ontario studio. Then the pandemic came, and yeah, we're all working from home now. So I'll just be straight up and tell you, I'm at my home studio. I got very used to the hesitation and waiting that sometimes had to happen, that we learned seemed to be there just a little bit more. And I think it works pretty good. But our technician would remind us. Then we get people who, like today, we had people on we were talking to from Prague, and it's going to be a delay, and we know that. So now we don't get as, oh my goodness, there's quiet. I've got to say something. Rum and I find that we field it better, eh, Rum?
Yeah, but I do want to say, on the complete opposite end of it, is sometimes we blame the lag and nobody's talked for like 30 seconds, because I'm like, oh, it's got to be me. I think I'm cut off. And then Kelly thinks the same, and then somebody else thinks the same, and somebody's got to tell in our ear, you guys are all on air. Start talking. So,
Somebody say something.
yeah. Thanks for the question.
Okay, one more question. This is about editing difficulties during COVID. So Jeff, I don't know if maybe this is a question aimed more at you or.
Yeah, for sure. Editing, I think that'd probably be best for Matt, although I can definitely speak to it as well, as I've been doing editing a little bit over the last couple of days and the last week or so. Everything seems to be fine. No delays, no glitches or anything. It's all the software is on our laptops, on our computers. So really nothing on that front. I feel like, it's been the same old as it has been, but just going back to the technical stuff with Kelly and Remya, I encourage you to listen to the podcast from today's show. Like Kelly alluded to, from Prague, we had a guest that was a little bit funny. We sort of poked fun at it at the end of the show. So it was, there were a couple of tech issues with internet, probably. Maybe it was just the phone line, because we were calling somebody in the Czech Republic, which you don't typically do on a show-to-show basis. So, but editing has been a-okay. I do want to move on. We'll get to more questions at the end of this segment, but I do want to bring in, I'll start with Michael Babcock, since Mike, you start on Mondays, you kick off the show. I'll start with you in this panel. Do you want to give people a little bit of a background on the segment, the style, some of the topics that you typically tackle on your Monday hits?
Sure. So when I got started, coming up on 2 years now, and that's interesting to think about. It got started because I reached out to Kelly and Ramya and left a voicemail and said, "Hey, why do you guys always talk about iOS, but you never talk about Android?" And at that point, I was going through an adventure of switching from the iPhone to Android, and I did that successfully for 18 months. And I wanted to hear more Android content. And then Kelly reached out to me and we started talking, and I started with my Accessing Android segment. And not a lot of people know this. I think I told Remy and Kelly this, but when I switched back to the iPhone, I was very hesitant because I had this amazing segment for accessing Android, and I didn't know how I was going to transition into talking about my adventure switching to the iPhone and technology that I'm using on Windows, and the dogs in the background that you probably hear. But it was a great experience, and Kelly and Romeo were both supportive of that transition. And now it's Talking Tech with Michael, because I couldn't think of anything creative to come up with the titles. I figured that would work. And something that I wanted to share with people is in the intro that you'll hear on Mondays, you say here, getting a shot of technology news. And I don't think I ever explained that. A shot of technology news comes from my substantial addiction to coffee. Every time before I start a segment, I have to go get a cup of coffee because I always have coffee with me. So that's where the shot of technology news came from.
Wow. I also want to add that Tom Decker had also, when we started looking at the fact that we needed Android, had said, "Hey, get Michael involved. Get Michael involved." And with the late Tom Decker, with Tom's passing, we're very glad that the right person picked up his gauntlet and has been doing the best he can to fill those very big shoes, and has done remarkable.
They are huge shoes to fill, that's for sure.
Ryan, I want to switch over to you on Fridays. You'll be joining us tomorrow on the show with a nice special guest as well, might I add. But you talk about audiobooks, ebooks, anything with, Chatty Bookshelf is what we call the segment. Do you want to give us a little bit of a rundown of what you like to talk about in some of the segments that you've talked about in the past?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. And who knew you could have a whole library inside your pocket, right? That's sort of the mantra of the Chatty Bookshelf. And if you hear the doorbell, that's what we say. And it's so true. There's so much going on. There's definitely no shortage of stories. Just almost every single day, my Twitter and my other things go off because I love audiobooks. It's almost borderline obsession. So this was easy for me. Very, very easy to talk about. I mean, I still listen to about a book a week, and it's bad for my wallet, but great for my brain and great for my entertainment. But I really just love talking about everything. And it sort of just started out. Kelly, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've been around since the beginning of Kelly and Co. I think so. Yeah, I think it's been quite some time now. So I'm honored that you guys have put up with me for this long.
Yeah,
So
because I met you doing television, and we roped right in. We knew need this guy.
yes, yeah. No, you made your probably your last trip down to Windsor. I don't know that you've ever been down here, but since then. But no, it's been an adventure.
No, you discouraged me.
I'm glad. But no, it's been such a fantastic ride. I'm looking forward to more adventures. And you know what? It's so easy to just chat about anything, because I know, like myself, you guys are book lovers as well, and it's really great to just sit and chat audiobooks, to have the same likes as some others, and to get even some comments on social media is really great too, to know that people are out there listening.
And Ryan, just piggybacking off that, I mean, what type of response have you gotten? I know you're very active within the blind and partially sighted community. Like, what type of response and what type of feedback have you been given just in your segments alone?
It's funny because sometimes I love coming to AMI. I can't wait to get my foot in the door there again, once things open up and I can come back up. I love doing the show from there with you guys, and I really enjoy the Christmas parties and everything. But it's funny because even in some meetings, I'm not even known as Ryan. It's like, oh, you're the audiobook guy. And I'm like, I'm the audiobook guy. So I've been called worse, so I'm okay with that. So it's interesting though that even the response, just from some listeners in our friends to the south in the US, they'll say, hey, we've listened to your segment and thanks for the book recommendation, or hey, we're using the app now, and it's really cool. So I'm glad to hear that people don't think I'm that crazy, that I have all these book apps on my phone and I use this one for that and that one for this, and it's been really, really great.
What about you, Michael? I know you're based in the States, so maybe a little bit of a different perspective here. What type of feedback have you been given on some of your tech segments?
I've been given the tech segments have transitioned me into doing a couple of projects for a nonprofit down here in Oregon where I live, because they realized after listening to some of the segments, hey, Michael does kind of know what he's talking about. And this Android thing that some of our supporters are interested in learning, we don't really have the knowledge to teach them that. Michael would be a great individual. And actually, I'd say two people that I can think of off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's more, have said, hey, that Kelly and Company show you're on, I really like it, but I've also listened to some other shows on AMI that I'm really fond of as well. And so I think that's been the biggest feedback, is positive feedback from individuals who enjoy the content and are interested in learning more about what AMI has to offer.
Love it. And Greg, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think we have about 10 minutes left in this session, right?
Yeah, we do. And actually, while I'm in here, there's a question. Have you ever come across a word that you found you just couldn't say properly while on air?
Yes.
Does my name count?
Yeah. That's
voiceover says my name is Ramaya, and I have actually called myself that on air while, like, at the beginning of doing live hosting. I was just writing down every single word, right, that I had to say, and I did mispronounce my own name on air.
Well, I think this happened
do that with her too. I with Ramya, I think people figure that guy can't even pronounce his co-host's name because most people call her Ramya.
It happened to me last week, I think. I was trying to say geographically, and it just wouldn't come out. I was saying geography. I don't know. And then I had to get Matt Agnew. I know. We spent probably a minute of our segment trying to figure out how to pronounce that word. So it happens basically all the time on the show.
Mine's implications, and these guys will put it in the scripts. We'll discuss the implications of it, and I don't know what it is. I'll look, and it just doesn't want to come out sometimes.
So we do have 10 minutes left. The session does end at 6:10 Eastern time. So Greg, we can get to maybe 2 or 3 more questions. Then I want to leave it to our panelists to have their closing remarks. So if there's any questions, I know I see a couple people's hands up. So Greg,
yeah,
you take it from here.
Yeah, thanks. So Andrea has her hand up. So Andrea, I'm going to unmute you, and you can go ahead with your question. Andrea, you've got to unmute yourself. Okay, so I'll go on to Andrea, just hang tight and we'll just go on to Maureen. I'm going to unmute you so that you can ask your question.
Hello, I'm Maureen's boyfriend, Kenneth Rojas. Just want to send a shout out to Kelly and company. They're one of my favorite shows. My favorite segment is always has to do with the pets. So my question to you guys is, what is your favorite segment on the
Ooh.
Kelly and Company show?
Oh, thanks, Kenny. Also appreciate it. Rum.
DJ Ken, shout out to you.
Careful, guys.
I don't know what to say. Can I not comment? I love
No, you
so
have to.
many-
Come on.
I love so many segments. I love all our tech. I love anytime we talk food. I also love anything to do with animals. So that's all the segments. Oh,
So what's that?
You missed
I
audiobooks.
could tell you.
What's
I
that?
know-
Monday
oh,
at
yes,
2:10, right
audiobooks.
through till Friday at 3:50.
Okay, fine. But I'll just say this. Sports segments have in the past been the challenging segments for me, or anything that's kind of politics focused. But any contributor who has that realm of things to cover have been super encouraging and really, really amazing at making me feel welcome into those segments and taking in my considerations as to why I find those segments more difficult. So even those are becoming some of my favorites.
Good
In a
grief.
roundabout way, I know.
And I don't know. I love everything. I'll tell you what the funniest thing is. I'm not really an animal person for real. I don't despise animals or anything like that. I don't know a lot about, but I do enjoy watching the shows on them. And I absolutely love that Danielle Johnkind comes in and speaks so well. And she's been with the show forever and keeps reinventing herself. But we always say we love any discussions involving food. But I think that's the real pleasure for me. Everybody keeps coming in, showing up every week, every month. And you think, oh boy, I wonder when they're going to run out of the topics and have to start reinventing.
They never do.
They never do. And we're telling them now, hey man, maybe you might want to revisit that. That was like 3 years ago. You talked about
Yes.
something. Bring it on back. Thanks, Kenny.
Jeff, have we got time for one more?
Sure, let's do one more.
Okay, Kent, I'm going to unmute you. Go ahead. Kent, you just got to unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah, I just have trouble catching up to the unmute button on the screen. And my question is for Kelly, as the sort of the veteran old schooler who's been in the AMI game the longest. Like you say, you've been with the network now for 20 plus years. And I remember back a few months ago when you were telling the story of how you first got started with what was then still called voice print, I think. Somebody by the name of Roger was the one who introduced you into the network.
Yes.
And I wonder if that was Roger St. Louis.
It sure was. Roger and I went to W. Ross at the same time out to the blind school. And I was actually doing theater stuff in Toronto in 91, I believe it was. And I went over to use the ham shack because I'm a licensed ham operator as well from where I was staying. And Roger had told me, why don't you come over and see voice print? And I had already listened to the first day of voice print when it went on the air. It was kind of cool. And I went over and saw the space. So, and he talked to me about, would you love to work here? Would you? And I was, I don't know if I want to leave London. I went away to the blind school. I don't know if I want to be in Toronto all the time. And now I sit back and think, man, I'd be retiring like Bill Shackleton's got to do one of these darn days. If I had taken a job then, I'd be able to be in Snoozeville, right? But so, yes, but definitely to answer your question, Kent, definitely Roger St. Louis, the late Roger St. Louis.
I was wondering whatever happened to Roger, and I'm sorry to hear that he's passed, because back when I was one of the first people to start the British Columbia Bureau back about 30 years ago, now, I'm a person with cerebral palsy. I don't have visual impairment, but Roger was the man in charge
Wow.
At Ontario Central back then when we were producing 1 hour a week. of live programming.
Isn't that tremendous? And out of CNIB in Toronto, and that's really wonderful. That's cool. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
So guys, we have about 5 minutes left. I want to get some closing remarks. I'm going to start with some of the contributors. I'll start with Ryan. Any final remarks about this session, about Kelly and Company in general?
I love being a part of the team. I consider you guys friends, not just coworkers and colleagues. I've grown to know you guys over the past few years, and it's been awesome. So keep me around as I shake my fist at you guys. But no, thanks for putting up with me. I know Ramya gets upset. She was talking about being a team, and I'll email her stuff late, and I know when I can just feel her looking at the screen and cursing me. But no, thank you, the listeners too. You guys are great, and keep the questions coming, even if it's offline, even if it's on Twitter or whatever. And I appreciate everything. So great, and listen tomorrow because we have a special guest coming up on the show.
That'll be just after.
General, Ryan.
Ryan's just after 3 o'clock Eastern tomorrow, folks, in case you want to take a listen to his upcoming segment. Michael, you're back on Mondays. Any final thoughts here on this session?
So 2 things. Well, 3 things, actually, and I'll make it really quick because we don't have much time. Kelly, you were in theater when I was 2. I thought that was interesting.
So was I when I was 2. I was always acting up.
Yeah, me too, but we won't get into that. So I really appreciate the opportunity that AMI has presented me. It has brought me the ability to refine my passion for audio, my passion for radio and sharing technology. And it's encouraged me to spend money that my wife thinks that I needed, but now I kind of have to say, hey, yeah, so I got to buy some more stuff too. So that's exciting.
So she hates our show.
She said, "You're doing what for AMI today? Is it going to cost me more money?" And lastly, I do want to wrap it up. We're going to talk about spring cleaning on Monday, so definitely tune in. Spring cleaning your digital life.
Nice.
I feel like I'm teching the show, guys. Kels, we have 3 minutes left. Remy, we have 3 minutes left. Rem, I'll give you your final word here.
I honestly, I'll make it super quick. I just want to say thank you so much for coming out. Familiar faces, people in the chat, people who raise their hand and ask questions, and just like the love all around. I really, really appreciate this whole event and everybody being so engaged with all of us, not just Kelly Co, but everything. So thank you for taking the time out today. Super appreciated. Love you guys.
Kelly, 2.5.
Well, I'll tell you, folks. This is something that I'm just so proud that the company was able to roll out. We wanted to do this in person last year, and the pandemic took care of that. We are so happy to be here, so happy to be a part of everything, and you mostly, your time, whether it's listening to our stuff, coming out to something like that. Hopefully we've all given you lots of answers, lots of smiles, because you are all part of that family. That is really important. And I sit up here 20 years in, and I'm damn proud of everyone, and thank you all.
Awesome stuff, guys. Michael, Ryan, appreciate you guys coming on. Obviously, we'll see you guys. Well, Ryan, we'll see you tomorrow. Michael, we'll see you on Monday. Kelly, Remya. Well, Remya, you're off tomorrow, and I believe
it's her birthday too,
so
by the way.
Happy birthday to you, Remya. Kels, me and you, we're going to be manning the ship tomorrow. Danielle McLaughlin will be joining us 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. Of course, our show goes from
no sports talk.
No sports talk. Maybe,
maybe
just a little bit.
I almost forgot it was sarcastic. Oh.
Maybe just a little. But guys, Monday to Friday, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time is when you can catch us on Kelly and Company on AMI Audio. Of course, we're on basically any podcast platform. So make sure you tune in for either individual show podcast or the full show podcast. I encourage you to check out today's because there were a couple of technical hiccups. We aren't perfect, but we try to be. But thank you guys for attending. And I'd just like to thank everybody else who's in this session, participants, Greg and Elena. Thanks for setting all this up. And if you guys need any more info, there's the info booth. You can learn about AMI anytime. And up next, Kelly, I believe you have the closing remarks. So thank you very much, everyone.
Yeah, I'll meet you guys all over there for the closing remarks shortly. Thank you again, everyone.